Oh, man. Well, good evening, everybody. How's it going? We're on episode 3. Again, we're still learning. It's pretty raw. We're not big tech guys, so you're probably not going to see very much flashiness from us for a bit until we find someone that's probably a little more, actually knows what they're doing other than pressing, like, the red button, go.
Record and stop. And we're good.
And we're good, yeah. We've gotten good feedback so far. We're really happy with the community that's growing around this podcast. We definitely did some talking, and we definitely agreed that, with every episode, we want there to always be a takeaway for you guys. Like something that we discuss where it just makes you a better person, or it
makes you think of something.
Yeah, furthers your...
Reflect on yourself.
Exactly. Yeah, a reflection. That's a really good one. So either kind of adding to what you already have, bringing something new to light, or just anything else. And with that, we're going to discuss topics that maybe we kind of come up. We usually talk about Saturday or Sunday before we do this, and we kind of think about what we'd like to kind of discuss or what thoughts we've had during the week. And then on top of that, we just like for you guys to, subscribe, share this podcast with others, but also comment, whether it's on YouTube or DM, send us some DMs through whatever page it is, and just kind of, we'll take criticism, no problem with that at all. Again, we're just starting out, but also send us things that you would like to, maybe you'd like to hear us talk about, or maybe
have questions on.
So,
anything from, really anything.
Really anything.
Obviously, definitely about fitness or about veteran stuff or military stuff, or even just
life.
Yeah. Or current events maybe, but
you're like, 30?
Getting ready to turn 31 in a couple weeks.
So he's about to turn 31. I'm about to turn 30, which is just so trippy. I don't know. I guess growing up, you always looked at like the 30-year-olds and you're like, you're so old. But like now that I'm almost 30, I'm like, I'm almost in the best shape of my life. Like, there are some things I can definitely tighten up, but like, I look the best, better than I ever have, even when I was in my 20s. I was lean, but like, I wasn't built and strong like I am now. I look better, I feel better, my hair's better, for sure. I'm still ugly, but, it is what it is. So again, we're almost 30, so again, between us, we've got 60 plus years of life, and there's things unique to both of us that we've had to endure and had to go through a lot of personal growth to get to where we are. So if there's ever anything that maybe you guys are struggling with, or maybe you guys want an alternate kind of mode of thinking, just shout us out. No matter what it is. And also, like, with the situation what it is right now in the country, and some places still being locked down, the thing that we've seen the biggest rise is the rise in anxiety, depression, and especially in the veteran community. If you don't know and you're living under a rock, at least 22 veterans a day commit suicide. And whether you're a veteran or not, like, if you just need someone to just quickly talk to, say, hey, I'm going through a hard time, like, I'm usually generally pretty available. Like, again, like, we will help you. We want everyone to,
sure.
There's purpose in life. And if you don't know what that purpose is, we can always find a direction for you. Or steer you somewhere. Just keep your head above water, keep swimming, just don't quit. Just don't quit.
And if you have anything that, anything you want to reach out to one of us or something and comment or whatever, you can find me on Instagram at @KevinGlenn. And
I'm at Never Back Down is my personal page, so NVRBCDN, or my fitness page for the gym, which is at Phoenix .fit, so FHNX .fit. Sorry, I shouldn't do that. But yeah, through those, or on Facebook, just Phoenix Fitness and Athletics. YouTube, you either have to search Phoenix Fitness and Athletics or Marcel Blake, and you'll find my page, which is apparently a reason people can't find the podcast on YouTube, is they're searching Vets and Barbells, and they're getting nothing. So yeah, so on YouTube, you're going to have to, for whatever reason, you have to either search Marcel Blake or Phoenix Fitness and Athletics. So I'm going to try to sort out why that is.
I'm finding it when I type in Vets and Barbells.
Maybe it's just a subscription thing. So again,
that probably is because I am subscribed. So Another reason to subscribe, just saying.
Yeah, subscribe, like, share, comment. Again, we're just trying to grow. We're trying to do more for you.
And that's not just so we can, like, like our stuff so we get money. No, we're just... That way
we're not even monetized.
That way we can get our message out there and maybe get more people to kind of also give us more feedback so we can maybe make this better for you guys.
Again, we're just trying to grow a community. We're not looking at this as a moneymaker. Like, especially with the times and the climate we're in. Let's just be positive. Let's push forward. So, I don't know. So, what was it that you're kind of wanting us to kind of go over today? What were your thoughts?
I was trying to think of something.
Actually, pause. Wait, I'm sorry. So I did get a comment over the weekend. My bad. My bad.
Yeah?
I got a comment. Somebody listened to episode 1 and 2, and they had a question on the specific steps I had to go through for me to get certified. So I was certified through NASM, or the National Academy of Sports Medicine. It's one of the more top tier ones. It's definitely a little more pricier. It does have a set time frame that you need to study and then take the test in. So I think it's generally within a year. I paid for it, studied it. I did the one where everything was digital. There was another price package above that where they send you the books, which I do study better with, but I just didn't have the budget for. So I studied everything online, all the chapters, took the pre-test, took the pre-quizzes. There's even a Facebook group for the NASM CPT. There's like a study group. So that was a good resource for people that kind of ask specific questions. And then I took the test. And then, like I said before, it was just kind of like a pass-fail. There really wasn't a whole lot of steps to it as far as getting certified, but especially with NASM, their big focus if you're going to go that route, is really pay attention to the different modalities or the different ways that you can coach somebody through movement corrections. So if somebody what I mean by that is like muscle imbalances. So if you want to do an overhead squat assessment and they're leaning forward too much, or they're coming off their heels, or they're dipping forward, or their knees are jacked, what that'll essentially teach you generally is there's a chart. If this is happening 9 times out of 10, it's this muscle's either shortened or imbalanced, and therefore you need to work the posterior side or the anterior side. So either posterior back, anterior front, medial, lateral, whatnot of the muscle groups. So anatomy plays a big portion of understanding muscle groups and understanding how they contract. I think we went over this one time that all muscles really contract, but as far as the actual motion of the exercise, that is a push and pull, but every muscle legitimately is a contracting muscle. You just need to know how to manipulate it. So those are the bigger focuses. Everything is very important. But yeah, if you're going to go the NASM CPT route, the big area of focus and where they'll try to trip you up is the muscle imbalances. So if you have any more questions about that, just reach out. But I feel like that was a shorter answer than probably somebody wanted, but that's essentially all it was. It's pretty much just, you got to find one that's going to work for you. NASM was the route I wanted to, that was the other thought I had, is there's a lot of other certifications out there. So there's NASM, there's ACE, there's ACSM, there's ISSA, there's 2 more that are kind of escaping me, and not to say that they're all at like different tier limits, but like ACSM, NASM, and I think ACE are generally, I think there's one more, I think that's even in that category, but those are the more like top tier ones that if you're going to work and intro your career into a commercial gym, those are generally what you would like to provide the employer that certification of. But do your homework. Like wherever you want to train out of, go to them first before you pay X amount of dollars, say for a NASM, and see like, hey, what would you prefer, or what do you like your trainers to have a base discipline in? If they say ACE, well, just go ACE. I would say that generally a lot of people go either with ACE or ISSA, because especially ISSA, that's the International something strength sports and strength association or something. It's a lot more strength based, which is really cool. A lot of people have benefited from it if that's more of your mode. But what's really nice about the ISSA is it's at your own pace. It's open book, and even the final. Don't worry about it. Even the final is open book. So, again, if you have a super busy schedule, it works for you, and there's nothing to knock that. Because the way I look at it is, even though if you come into a job field and say, one dude's got an ISSA and one dude's got a NASM. So on paper, the NASM looks better. However, my personal belief is, what do you do personally as a trainer after that? You know, if someone with the NASM is just kind of like a sandbagger, like, cool, you know, I've got the NASM, but then they don't really help their clients as much, or they don't really use those fruits to like have something happen.
Mm-hmm.
They don't really use those tools to like provide real influence, but yet the dude with the ISSA just gets after it. So after that, after you get your base level cert, it's really like, what are you doing as a trainer after that? I mean, that's just my personal feel on it. Again, I got a NASM. You know, I'm just trying to use it how I can. I've essentially used that the NASM certification to add to the tools and experience I already had. Did it do a whole lot for me getting the NASM? Yes and no. Again, when I first thought I was going to train out of a global gym or a commercial gym, it helped a lot. But honestly, after I was in a commercial gym setting for like 5 to 6 months, I realized like just wasn't my jive. And now that I own my own gym and I train my own clients, and I've been able to prove that I know what I'm doing, and I train a ton of online clients, and I think I've actually got a guy right now that he's looking at either paying ahead for 3 or 6 months at a time, because I've trained him before, and you know, he's coming back. You know, it's there. And so it's, for me now, it's a 50-50. Do I want to stay certified just to stay certified and say I am? Or do I just want to say, screw it, I know what I'm doing, people know what I'm doing, and I'm going to let my work, you know, speak for itself at this point. So it's a catch-22 that you have to weigh on a personal level. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but it's kind of like you just have to make the best move you can without burying yourself in a credit hole. And what can you do to further your career post-certification? So that's just kind of that. So again, that was a comment made by a viewer. And that's it. That'll be me laying off that question now. So again, sorry I interrupted you, but
No, you're good.
I did want to address it. So thank you for that viewer that commented and reached out. We'll do it. Okay, so continue.
All right, so we were discussing about an interesting topic that might be worth hitting on is personal growth. Like, who were you in high school? I just like how I like to put it. Like, who were you like at the end of high school compared to who you are 5 years after high school to 10 years after high school to however it might have been for you, because no one's the same.
Mm-mm.
I'm not gonna be the same person I am right now 5 years from now.
Yeah.
I mean, some of me, yeah, is gonna be the same. Some of those core values are gonna stay the same, but there are certain things that your perspective's gonna change on, or things are gonna, life events are going to change you.
Mm-hmm. I think I loved what you just said right there. I'm gonna add to it. The biggest thing we need to realize that as a human race, there's two things that everybody shares, regardless of race, color, religion, culture, you know, whatnot, is we're all human, and human nature at its core is dangerous. If we can't band together and find common ground, you know, we're very destruction related. Two is, I just lost it. Gosh dang it, my ADD. That's what it is. Going back to a training is the human body is completely adaptable, mentally and physically. No matter what it is, my personal doctrine of Blake here is we as Homo sapiens can adapt faster and more efficiently than any animal on the face of the planet, and we can just do it quicker. You think about animals, it takes them multiple generations to adapt to a new environment. Like if they get displaced somewhere, you know, you're saying you've just messed up the food chain, you've messed up the predator, like who's the predator and who, you know, again, it goes back to food chain, but who they got to watch out for, the foods they can and cannot eat, where they can hide, where they can build. It takes them so long to try. I mean, they have to figure. However, you drop a human being and displace them somewhere else, they're like, well, crap, I just got to get after it. Like I've got to, you know, survive or die. You know, if you came from, you know, if you were, say, a tribe living in the Midwest Plains, and all of a sudden you get displaced to like northern Montana or like Alaska, well, you're like, well, crap. Well, I'm gonna start hunting some freaking bears or, you know, some furry animal, and I'm gonna start making coats and I'm gonna start making thick moccasins. Like it's adapt or die. Mm-hmm. You know, and so as far as personal growth goes in the modern sphere today, we have to remember that you're not gonna be the same person, and you shouldn't. You need to understand that you need to grow.
You need to better yourself.
You need to, exactly, you need to better yourself. You need to not have to, like, I just, it's so, this is why I'm off Facebook for a lot of things, is people almost get mad at each other because it's like, oh, you're not the same person you were in high school. It's like, well, I don't want to be the same person I was in high school. Like, why should I be? Like, what is it, I mean, also, what is it to that other person that I have to stay the same for you?
Yeah.
So, for me, so to go to the first part of your question, for me, in high school, I was severely introverted. I was bored in high school. I didn't like it. I mean, I had friends, but it wasn't like I was going out all the time. I wasn't always, you know, invited out. Honestly, I just wanted to go to school, do my thing, come home, and be left alone. Like, I didn't care for it. I wanted out of high school as quick as possible. I just wanted to do my own thing. I've said it before, like my younger brother was the complete opposite. Like he has always been, even to this day, very extroverted, extremely social, very likable personality. Now, to quickly segue for myself, like again, I went from severely introverted to now, I'm still an introverted person. I like my time, doing my things my way, which I think a lot of people do.
You need that you time.
Yeah, exactly. And I think a lot of people realize that, especially later in life, when it's so busy. You've got work or multiple jobs, you know, you've got a family, kids. Just as an individual, you need to go and have a breath of fresh air. Like this morning, key part and example, like I'm usually here at the gym about 4:30, 5 a.m. in the morning by the time I drive in. Today, I just needed a quiet walk. I just needed to just go out for like 40 minutes. The weather was nice. I had a hoodie on. Just let the mind go. Just needed that little moment, especially after this weekend was so hectic. But like, now, I like my introverted time. I like my me space, be left alone. But I'm a lot more social than I've ever been in my life, and it was kind of funny for my family to kind of like see that twist. And it was right as I got to college. Is I started to kind of like flip the script on myself and just grow a little more. So that was like me up to college. Like that was my shift. So I'll let you kind of go into like more of, I guess, who you were in high school to maybe when the flip happened for you, and then we'll go from there. Yeah. Maybe those instances that occurred.
When I was in high school, I was wild. I mean, I really was. And, you know, I still got a lot of close friends still that, you know, I have to this day that are from high school. You know, when they think, oh, you know, Kevin, oh, that dude's crazy. That dude's wild. And then now, like, if I go to hang out and go party and stuff, like, yeah, I'll still go out and, you know, party with people, go to a party and do a bunch, you know, where there's a bunch of drinking, but I'll still drink, but I'm not the guy who's going to be, like, slam them down, get sloshy, doing stupid shit, you know, like, good example, like if you watch like a, you know, high school party movie or something like that.
Oh, they're all getting sloshed. Yeah.
Well, then there's always that one crazy dude that decides to get up on the second floor, up on the roof, on a 2-story home, and jumping off of it into the pool. You know, doing something crazy like that or something. That was me. I was that dumbass.
Yeah.
And I did a lot of, you know, wild stuff growing up, but now it's like, I mean, I still like to have fun, but I don't get stupid and crazy like I used to. I've definitely calmed down a lot, and I wouldn't. I mean, yeah, having kids that is kind of part of it. But I was already calming down before then and stuff. I would say like my wife has helped. Being with my wife has really made me kind of re-look at my life and stuff. But I mean, even after high school, got into service and stuff, I was still, I was the wild one.
Yeah.
Of the
So
bunch.
we'll tap on that real quick. So, in my experience, if you don't have a habit yet or a vice as far as substance is like alcohol, tobacco, whatever, the military is not the place to start that.
Yeah.
At all, because it's an extremely stress-driven environment, especially in more of the high-tempo areas, or just and actually just the overall boredom. Sometimes just the hurry up and wait or the standby time. It's you have nothing.
Stand
by to stand by. You're just so bored that, well, what's everyone else doing? Oh, let's throw a dip in, or like, well, let's just smoke them if you got them, kind of thing. And like, look, I'm not like me personally. It's never been my thing, you know. And I've gone this far in life, and I was 24 when I joined, and everybody's like said like, if you haven't started freaking drinking or smoking or dipping, you're gonna start pretty soon. And in my head, I was just like, I haven't needed it up to this point. Why would I need it now? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And again, I'm not saying that to knock against anyone that does, because you gotta just. That's what I decided very early on in my life. I made a very conscientious choice very early that, one, I didn't want to or I shouldn't, and then later in life that involved to, well, why? Like, even with both my units I've been with, I'll still go out with my boys. They'll have their fun. All I ask is, if they're gonna buy drinks, just buy me a Red Bull or buy me a Bang, or maybe I'll bring my own, and I'll be DD. I don't care. I like having fun with them either way. Like, I think the quote from The Outsiders, one of the brothers in there was like, I don't get high, I just get high on life. And that was something I had to transform in my mind eventually, is like, stop thinking about myself and what I wanted, and that little bit of extrovertness can be transformed to just thinking about other people. Think outside yourself. Like, how can you be of service to just one other person? What can you do for somebody else? And the moment you flip that script, the moment you just kind of open your mind up to another capability you have of just, maybe it's just you just get more friendly. Maybe you just like say hi to people more often, or maybe you just like, oh, how's your day going? And even if they kind of blow you off, it's still like, maybe later on they think of that. It's like, hey, that was actually really nice that dude like, doesn't know me, but whatever. It's like, as an example just popped in my head, playgrounds. When I take my kids to the playground, like, and this is what gets me about a lot of the discussions happening nowadays, because especially around here, it's so diverse in who goes to a playground or how many people or who they are. But the thing is, the great unifier are the kids. Like,
yeah,
kids are kids. I mean, not to say we need to act childish, but if we could just treat each other with a little more of an open mind of like, look, we're all different. We all got a different mode of or a way of thinking, but there are a few unifiers that we share, and especially if you have kids, the main priority in your life is going to be trying to provide a safe, loving, healthy environment for your kid. And if that's hard for you, trying to attach yourself to some type of an organization or another family that can help you with that, or provide more of a support for that to be the environment you wish for your kid. So when I go to a playground, like, I don't care who you are, I don't care what color you are, like, if our kids are having a fun time, I'm gonna talk to you. Like, I don't care. I mean, I think all kids are cute. I mean, they're goofy, they say the darndest things, they do the funniest things, and especially my daughters, like, some of the stuff they think of, like, I just sit there and I have to shake my head and smile, because it just, I mean, I'm sure you get the same thing with McCoy and Maggie. You're just like, I don't know where this came from, but you guys are killing me right now. Like, oh man. So, to segue to that, my oldest has the hardest time staying in her bed at night. Like, she's just been a horrible sleeper even since like she was a baby, and so my wife and I have just been gotten super sick of her climbing into bed with us and us pushing her out and essentially putting a blanket pallet on the floor at the foot of our bed. So last night I thought I was a genius. So 2 nights in a row, my dog, my shepherd, has found some stuffed toy that's been left out. He's just destroyed it. You know, he just thinks it's one of his toys. So what I thought of is we transitioned my oldest daughter from, since she didn't want to stay in her bed, she started sleeping like in the hall. We have this gate that divides like the front half of the house to the back half of the house, like where our playroom is and the kids' rooms. And so she would sleep on essentially the friendly side of the gate. And so what I told her, I was like, hey, remember he shredded toys? I thought I was so smart. I was like, look, you need to be the gate guardian. And she was like, what? What is that? I was like, look, this is a super, super important job. Danny's been shredding toys, right? And she's like, yeah. I was like, look, we cleaned up there, right? And she's like, yeah. It's like, okay, so you need to make sure this gate stays closed all night.
She didn't sleep, did she?
Wait. So she was like super pumped. I was like, yes, I figured it out. She's like, I got it, Dad. Danny's not coming in here, and if I see him, I'm going to tell him to go away. So she passes out, which is good, you know, or she kind of falls asleep. Well, the youngest is in her room and she starts fussing. My wife goes back to take her a bottle or a water bottle. Well, she just ends up. My wife's not tall enough to step up the gate. She's height challenged. I love you, Lexi. You're just a little height challenged. So she has to open the gate. Well, as soon as the latch like clicks and it's super soft, my oldest bolts up. She's like, Mom, you need to close that gate. Danny cannot get back here. I have to protect these toys. You need to hurry. And so she got up out of bed and like closed the gate and waited for my wife to go give the bottle. She opened the gate for my wife, closed it, latched it, laid back down. I was like, I've got this figured out. I'm the best dad in the world. Well, come 3 a.m., I heard the gate kind of latch, but what she ended up doing, she opened it, walked around it, closed it, looked back, and I heard her say, no, Danny. And then came and climbed in bed. And I was like, gosh dang it. Most of the night, I figured it out. So anyway, that's a rabbit hole story. I apologize. But again, it just goes back to like kids. For me, I will probably be able to figure out in some way probably a reflection of the parent's character by the kids. Like how your kids act and what they say is, in my opinion, a direct reflection of the parent. Mm-hmm. I remember, what's that new park in Jeff City? The one with the water and like the huge freaking climbing tower.
We just call it the splash pad.
The splash pad, yeah. I forget what this is, but in Jeff City they just built this new like splash pad water park. The ton of little ropes, like kids rope course things. It's super rad.
It's all turf too.
It's all turf. It's super nice turf. Well, the first time we went there is he was probably maybe 6 or something, but the nicest, most polite young boy or young man, young boy, that I've probably come across in like since my kids have been born. I was just mad impressed, and I was trying to find the parent, and it took me almost the entire hour we were there before the kids were ready, and I finally like saw it, because this kid was energetic but not wild. He was just going around, just being super nice and polite. Well, finally I saw him do enough laps, and I finally figured out who the dad was, and I just went over to him, and he was probably freaked out. I mean, I'm white, he was black, and I was like, "Hey, is that your son over there?" And I didn't try to sound like mean about it, and I just saw him I saw him sigh a bit. I was like, "No." I was like, "Look, your son was super polite to my daughters. Like, I'm like, whatever you're doing, like as a dad of 2 daughters, you're killing it, dude. Like whatever you're doing, keep doing it." And he was like, "Man, it's just the way my mama raised me. I'm just trying to keep it going." I was like, "Don't stop. Like whatever you're doing, don't stop." You know, and that's and I think for me sharing that, it's more of like it's pulling back to that personal growth. Again, I don't know that man's history. I don't know what came, but like what he's doing in that moment with his family and what we're trying to do with ours is like we're gonna keep changing and adapting and growing as people. But the greatest thing we can be doing is taking the life lessons that we've learned and trying to make sure that like my kids don't repeat my mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not going to flaunt my mistakes as, oh, that was a fun time, or I mean it was in some regards, but for them to try to understand, like, look, yes, I had fun, but I made a lot of mistakes. Like I'm not proud of it.
Yeah.
And I want you to do better than me. You know what I mean? Okay, so I'll let you kind of take it from there. I've run my suck long enough.
Oh, you're good. Yeah. So like another kind of like to think about like personal growth stuff is like things that either you have done or things that has happened to you, good or bad, changes you. Mm-hmm. And hopefully, even if something bad happens to you, you take something and learn from it and grow from that. I had something pretty crummy happen to me. Basically just a really shitty, bad breakup with this girl that I thought for sure we were going to be getting married and everything. After the whole split up, it was rough on me. She's like was all hunky-dory and everything, but it was rough on me. And I went down a dark hole. Mm-hmm. A really dark hole. I was drinking every day of the week. I was getting sloshed every freaking day. I started playing with recreational drugs outside of marijuana because I'm all for it. If you want to smoke marijuana, I'm cool with that. It should be 50 state legal. I think it's bullcrap. It's not, and alcohol is, but I was way past marijuana. And luckily I was able to come back from that, I learned from that. I realized that I think that had I know that had a huge development within my life. Like that really changed me into who I am now. I realized I can't let other people affect me in that way. And that just because something bad happens doesn't mean you gotta tear yourself apart. Mm-hmm. And, not too long after that, after I realized what was kind of going on, and I was also, there's I can go even deeper in it, but I was a bad person for a while. I was a horrible person.
So what dug you out of it?
So the what dug me out of part of it, but I didn't stop all of it, was there was a bad night with a bad fight with who I thought was a friend. Mm-hmm. And realized afterwards that I wasn't a friend. I was a convenience for him. Mm-hmm. And so that was he was the one that introduced me to doing the drugs and doing the stupid shit. And it was so bad. Like every weekend we would get drunk as hell, high, drive home, do stupid shit on the way home. One night we decided, after it was like November-ish, because the cornfields were cut and everything, but we decided, it'd be fun to haul ass to this cornfield at 100 mile an hour through cornfield. Mm. Like stupid shit, because I just didn't give. I had zero fucks given. Mm. But so that kind of fallout with him kind of straightened me out a little bit, and I had some of my military buddies kind of, because this was all while I was still in the service too. Mm. So I'm lucky as hell I didn't get caught.
You could have been in some bad juju.
So I had a couple of military friends that were close to me, like my buddy Chris. You were you and and T-Bot, you guys were a huge help of pulling me out of that. But I still wasn't, like, I was still a little shit.
Mm-hmm.
I was still where someone mouthed off to me. I wasn't gonna get in an argument with them. I was gonna beat the frick out of them.
Yeah.
I didn't care. You mouth off to me, I'm gonna beat the shit.
Gloves off. Let's go.
It was It was 0 to 60 on everything. Plus, I did have a little bit with going on with my from deployment. I got hurt. I had a couple concussions, and so I did have a little bit of that on top of that with my anger too. But it was still just, I was in a bad part of my life. But I started straightening up somewhat, and then honestly, and this isn't me trying to get some kudo points or nothing with her, but my wife is the reason I was able to become a better person.
Mm-hmm.
When I met her, I knew it was time to change. The first night we met and everything, she liked me, everything was going great, but like, she looked on my Facebook and saw what I had been and thought I was a total douchebag. I was able to,
fix that,
yeah. But she really turned me and, helped me realize what I was doing, what the way I was not right. And I really started paying attention to what I was doing with myself and started changing that. And
so she almost became your why, like the
why
reason
do
why
I need to straighten out.
Yeah.
And she was
like a cornerstone of your why.
Yes.
And that's real, like, even on the personal side, emotional, mental, or even physical, as far as training goes, like, the biggest thing I try to, one, I had to tell myself early on, and two, I tell my clients is, like, your reason why you want to change, or you want to transform, or you want to do whatever, or just be a better person, is, like, your why has to be stronger than whatever it is you're currently using or doing. Because, those first maybe 2 weeks, you're gonna be good, you're gonna just feel better about yourself, but, like, that little dark voice is gonna start creeping in.
It's easy to go back down that rabbit hole.
And it's so easy just to say, oh, well, I liked it. It made me happy. I've had my own things that I've struggled with in the past, and I still struggle with certain addictions that I have to stay extremely vigilant with. Otherwise, it's just gonna pop off again. It's too easy to, like, when stressors get high, for you just to relapse back into a substance. You see this with drug addicts and alcoholism and other addictions out there. It's so easy to be like, oh, it's just one drink. Oh, it's just it's just one hit. It's just one look. It's so easy to justify. Justification is the greasy slide pull the hill. It's so easy to justify for a momentary happiness, where you just need to honestly give yourself some grace. Know that, and for me, I've had to realize that, all right, I had a troubled past, or I had a troubled experience. I need to recognize it. I don't need to shun it. That's probably the worst thing you can my personal opinion, I think the worst thing you can do is trying to shun and almost shame yourself of it. I think more that the next level transformation that can happen is recognize it. Just acknowledge it for what it is, what it was, what it did to you. And sometimes that is going to be painful. You're going to have to look at yourself, and you're really going to have to put yourself in a spot to pony up.
Yep.
To be a man about it, to be a woman about it, and just say, yeah, that is what it is. But the next level is, what am I going to do about it? Do I want to keep being that person? So going back to let that be the segue for me to then take the discussion of who we were before and how to flip it. So your reason was why of, like, a big key part was your wife Amanda. Is, she literally became that grounding cornerstone to the personal foundation you've built now, because of her.
A reason of more than just, I need to change.
Yeah.
It was more, she gave me more of a reason. I need to change, not just because of what I was doing was shitty. I need to change because I need to be a better person for her.
Yeah. So for me, my transformation was more mental and internal. Like, for me, I just realized who I wasn't going to go anywhere in life. I was going to live by somebody else's rules, somebody else's expectations, and I think the reason I flourished as much as I did in college was, at that point, it was on my shoulders. What am I going to do? Am I going to get bad grades, decent grades? Am I going to, have friends, not have friends? Am I just going to lock myself away? Am I just going to do what I've always done and, have a mediocre, joyful experience in life? Or am I going to just, this is my time? So, my first year at college, my brother came to visit me at one point during his fall break from high school. So he came out to snowboard out in Utah because it's darn near the best powder on earth. And I was like, yeah, just come here. I'm hanging out with my friends. And he gave me a double check. It's like, no offense, dude, but you have friends? You have a group? I was like, yeah, we hang out all the time. And he was like, who are you? What have you done? But it was cool, and we actually talked about it this last weekend with a little family chat call. But for me, it was just, it's just I was so tired of being who I was. I felt like I was just kind of floating through life. I was letting life act on me and me not act on life. Mm-hmm. And part of it was just I didn't have a mental toughness. I had a moral and ethical foundation within my life of what I knew was right and wrong, but I wasn't doing anything about it.
Yeah.
I wasn't building on it. I wasn't taking it away. I was just kind of stuck. And so for me, it was just a mental toughness of well, am I going to put myself out there, or am I just going to be me? And what helped was, actually experiencing relationships, part of it. The other one was just putting myself out there, attempting to make friends with people I wouldn't normally have talked to or made or done anything with, and then just talking to just people in general. It's so weird with the current climate of it's we don't want to talk to people anymore. We don't want to look at them because we're all masked up, or we're all just trying to social distance from 6 feet away, which, if you're passing somebody on the street, you're roughly always, 4 to 6 feet away anyway. There's nothing wrong with just talking to somebody. But so for me, it was just I had to get out of my shell. I had to do something more. And especially this current day and age where it's so technologically driven. People are, kids are talking to each other over video games or Discord chats or Twitch, or just there's just not as much face-to-face anymore. And then with what we've experienced where, my kid is going through pre-K right now, and we're glad that she took to it, but she almost you could tell that when we sent her there and we watched her through the door, she was kind of sitting there at the table I don't...
Slightly uncomfortable.
Yeah, I don't know how to interact. I don't know how to talk with... it's kids. Just play with the Play-Doh.
They're just like you.
Just play with the Play-Doh. They're just like you.
It.
Just don't eat it. Just do whatever. Make a goose. I don't know. It's a goose. Good old Jim Carrey. But yeah, that was me. And so a lot of my transformation just comes to my mentality of the way I approach something. Was I stopped... The biggest thing, I stopped caring what other people thought of me. And to a degree, even as an adult, you still might, especially if someone's close to you, you might still care about, how you're perceived by somebody, because, you care about that person, or you hope they care about you enough to, care about how you're doing in life. But sometimes that's not the case. Even the ones closest to you may not really be cognizant of the strides you're going through. And so at the end of the day, you have to do what's best for you. I don't give two craps about what somebody thinks about what I do, and some of that's more of my East Coast blunt kind of mentality about it. I'm gonna tell you how I feel about something, and I know where I'm grounded, and I still have an open mind to learn somebody else's point of view. But if I don't agree with you, I'm gonna tell you I don't agree with you.
Yeah.
I might even tell you you're wrong. and I'm going to tell you why. And you may not agree with it, and that's fine. But again, I had to get to the point where I don't like living by somebody else's expectations other than my own and my wife's. I love being able to meet her expectation. You know, even if that's like do the dishes every night, even though I'd probably do the dishes every other night. You know what I mean? And that's a little thing. But again, it's just like I just stopped caring. I got there. How do I want to say this? You will waste so much emotional and mental energy worrying about what somebody else thinks of you. Like, there's no point. Like, I've seen people rake themselves over the coals by overthinking about how they're perceived by somebody else. Mm-hmm. And I went through a relationship where, for the longest time, it's like, oh man, if I didn't make a post on social about something, you know, she'd be like, oh, why didn't you do this? And, and so, like, for the longest time, I lived like, how am I perceived by my significant other? Like, am I living up to, like, her expectation? But it was almost like I had to live up to an expectation that was, like, almost negative. Like, it was more draining than it was supporting. And eventually I had to, just cut that one loose. And that was kind of like, it sounded like your situation. It was extremely tough decision to make for me. Extremely hard on both of us, the way it all went about. But, in the end, you have to do what's best for you. And for me at that time, I just realized I just wasn't Superman. Like, I just couldn't keep taking hits and getting back up off the floor. I just got to a point where I was like, I can't do this anymore. And that was after like a year and a half, and we were almost married. We were close to it, and I'll admit it, like, I called it off, and I just said, look, this can't happen right now. And then from there, things just, we just went our separate ways. And I hope she's doing, there'll come times in my head where it'll pop up, and I just think, I hope she's doing well. I definitely don't desire, like, really any contact, but mm-hmm. I have that thought, like, I just hope she's doing well. That's it. But at the same time, that was an extremely hard moment. But out of that, months later, I met my wife. And after a grace period, and then meeting her, she was just a breath of fresh air for me. Kind of like you. Like, out of everything I went through, this was a person that was extremely loving, very open, and extremely forgiving. Because I am no perfect person, and I'm still, even after being married 6 years, almost 6 years or 7 years, I know where the anniversary is. So. That one you're not going to trip me up on. But just, not to say it was a completely flip of personalities, but it was something that, like, for me, I needed. And I realized in the end, after dating her for a while, that was somebody that I could truly build a strong family foundation with. And someone that was going to be, like, an extremely amazing mother. Not saying the other person wasn't going to be, but where she and I were on individual personality levels, mm-hmm. It was extremely hard to see that longer game. And again, I admit to what I admitted to. So, but again, it was just a shift of transformations. Of one, just stopped caring about what other people thought of me, and that alone just freed me up from so much worry and doubt. Like, all the overthinking. You could be you. I could be me. Yeah, like, I could really just breathe. And just focus on what I needed to do. Not in a selfish way, but it's like, okay, hey, these are my goals. This is how I'm going to attack it. And even with things I've got going now, like, there are things that I do, either professionally, personally, or as a hobby, that a lot of people don't agree with. And a lot of people have been vocal about how stupid or, stupid it is, or, some other synonym or acronym or synonym there of just like, well, look, it makes me happy, and I'm doing the best I can, and I'm still taking care of my family, and I'm still trying to take care of myself and my business. So what is it any of your business what I do mm-hmm. with my time and my money? Like, I'm not gonna, if I get something, if that person gets something new, my first question isn't, well, how much did that cost? I'm always like, dude, awesome. Like, when you got your new truck, I was like, bro, sick truck. Not a big fan of red, but hey, I was happy for you.
Good for you, type
good for
thing.
you. Yeah, it was good for you. It's like, what does it matter what's the time or the money somebody spent? How about you just support that person? Like, clearly that was a big move for them, like for you, for getting a new truck. You know, I was like, I know you've been wanting for, you know, some new vehicle. Awesome, you made it happen. Good for you, dude. Like, don't sweat the stupid little things. In fact, where I come from, if you ask more about like the money, that was considered like extremely rude. I don't know if that's like same everywhere else, but like, you know, that's kind of like a no-no. Where I come from is just seen as like very rude. But I don't care. You do what you want for the time and your money. But where are we at with all this? Yeah, whatever. Anyway, that's just my thing. Yeah, my thing was just like let go, you know, transform your mentality. Part of it's being mentally tough. You know, you got to take the punches. But the other part is like stop caring. Like stop, like care, but stop getting so wrapped up.
Don't let worrying about what other people think or going to say about you run you.
Yeah,
you've got to be yourself and do what makes you happy, whether other people like it or not.
Yeah, and knowing yourself.
Don't harm yourself.
Yeah, don't harm yourself. Like
with doing what makes
like,
you happy. You're like, drugs can make you happy, but that's probably not the thing that you should be doing.
No, it's momentary, not everlasting. Even if your bender lasts a few days, it's gonna be bad. But yeah, like just love yourself and get, even if it's like you're in a transformation spot where maybe you don't know yourself. You know, well, get to know yourself. Take time for you. Like, do what you need to do. Take care of your life or your family the way you need to, but take little steps to just solidify who you are as a person. Again, through my transformation, like a lot of my ethics and morals, the foundations, I allowed that to carry me through how my parents raised me to who I was, and then as I transformed, I let those become my foundation block as a person, but I allowed myself personally and mentally transform to who I am. And again, that was just the mental toughness of like, well, life is gonna suck. Whatever happens, it just needs to be tackled. You know, like I was telling you, like to admit it, like during the quarantine, money got tight for my family, but I kept trying to run the gym. I kept trying to work with my buddy part-time. And when those fell apart, I'm like, well, I'm gonna get a grocery night stocking job. I had to do something. You know, I'm not gonna roll over and call it quits and just say, oh, 2020 is a wash. I'm just gonna not do anything because it sucks. So, I mean, I was raised to work hard and do what has to be done. And for me, I was just like, well, even if it's only bringing home $300 every 2 weeks, I'm gonna work this night stocking job 3 nights a week.
$300 more dollars you
didn't have. It's more than I had, you know, coming in. And then now that, you know, things are growing again, I said, hey, I don't really need this job anymore. Here's my 2 weeks. If you need me, put it on the schedule, whatever. But like, you just have to realize, like, in the end, when push comes to shove, you need to pony up and do what's got to be done. And that mentality helped carry me into the Marine Corps, where, you know, the biggest things we were freaking yelled at was, nobody cares about your problems, figure it out, and it'll fit, which was more of a packing thing. So, but, you know, it's just figure it out and nobody cares about your problems. And that just needs to be, like, nobody's going to fix the problem for you. Like, you can get some help if you hit a roadblock. There's nothing wrong about asking for help in the right light. But, like, the world is only going to get tougher and darker. And if you can't prepare yourself to mentally ford those waters, you're going to have an extremely hard time and you might drown. So just realize that, like, whatever you got to do now, just, if something tough, like with me, if something in life comes and it punches me in the face, I'll take a step back, I'll take a breath, collect myself, and then I'm coming back. Like, I'm getting off the ropes, I'm getting out of the corner, and I'm going to come back in, and I'm going to attack that problem until I either have a pathway to victory, or I figure out what it is I need to just squash it right then. You know, and that's just, again, that was part of my flip, plus what I've kind of picked up being in the military, of just like, just what they added to me, and that's just how I do it, man. It's just, it's different person to person how you get there, but the end result could very well be the same. Is just, you just realize that things are going to be tough, but if you're working to better yourself, it's going to be positive in the end. It's not going to be easy. Nothing in life is easy or should be easy or even free. You're going to work for it, but if you work for it, that end result is going to mean so much more for you. Like, you're going to really cherish the hard times you went through to get to where you're at. Plain and simple. So, I got nothing else.
Well, I just want to say, like, we hope that you guys get something from this, whether it's just like to sit down and listen to some people, two guys talk in a tiny little office, or if it's like
cozy,
or if it's hearing this and makes you reflect on yourself. We just hope that people are pulling something from this, and that's why I kind of wanted to go with something a little deep. It is kind of a little deep. I mean, I'm sure we could go even deeper on it, but no one wants to sit around for that.
No, I don't. I can only go so deep so quick.
But I will say, if anyone is got any like little tidbits they would like to say about their experience, feel free to comment.
Yeah, especially on YouTube, like that comment section. I'm not gonna moderate it. Like you guys can let the comment section be what it is. Good, bad, ugly. Bitch moans, complaints. BMCs. Be it what it is. Let it. I think the biggest thing for me that keeps as we've talked about this is like literally like there will come times where I'm going through some mental anxiety or like a roadblock, and I literally have to just like figuratively or literally like look myself in a mirror and just be like, dude, you need to get this together. Like, you need to figure this out, because it's, especially when you're married and you've got kids, it's no longer just about you.
No.
Like, more or less every decision you make has an extremely big ripple on those closest to you. And I guess that's the best way to phrase it. Like, there will always be, or maybe there are, people that are close to you, whether that's family, kids, or whoever. But don't let yourself get in a dark place. And don't hide that. Don't think you have to swim this life alone in dark waters.
If you're having a hard time, reach out to somebody. Anyone.
And again, even if it's us, if somehow you feel like maybe we can offer like words of encouragement, if that's what it means, I don't need stalkers. I'm just going to be completely honest. I don't need those in my life. I'm super busy enough. I can't track on that. But I don't want to see someone fall by the wayside. This life is regardless of the hard times, this life is too beautiful. There's too much left to experience, and just don't stick yourself in a corner or in a closet. Just open your eyes, go for a walk. For me, there's so much noise in the world that, again, like my example of what I did this morning, no headphones, no music. Sometimes I'll walk down Binder Park and just like let nature, let Mother Earth just kind of like soak you up. Just let you soak it in. And for me, like, just that fresh, especially now that we're in the fall, like that crisp, like morning air, to me, like, that's the best feeling in the world to me, especially if they've just cut the grass the day before. It's practically pure euphoria. But anyway, it's enough said about that. But no, that was a good topic you picked. I'm really glad you kind of sent that, and I think maybe we went down some rabbit holes, but I think there's a lot of good stuff said.
Yeah.
So
anyway,
every one of y'all, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was a good one. Again, like, comment, share, whatever needs to happen. But you all have a good night, and catch you next week.